Am I the a-hole for not trying to have a relationship with my half-sister? I, 19F, don't speak to my mom anymore. We've been no contact since my 18th birthday, and honestly, it was one of the hardest but most necessary decisions I've ever made for myself. My mom has another daughter now, my half-sister, who's 6 years old. I lived with them, my mom, her second husband, and my half-sister, up until I turned 18. The day I legally became an adult, I packed up my things and left. For the next year, I bounced around, sometimes staying with friends, sometimes with extended family. That first year of freedom was messy, but it was also the first time I felt like I had a choice in how much contact I had with my mom. The problem was, every time I stayed with relatives on my mom's side, they'd push me to stay in my half-sister's life. They'd say things like, she's innocent, she didn't do anything wrong, or one day she's going to need her big sister. They told me that even if I hated my mom, I could still love my little sister. According to them, I never even gave myself the chance to bond with her, so it wasn't fair to say I felt nothing. Those conversations always made me uncomfortable, almost trapped. I was already struggling to process all the pain and resentment I carried from my childhood, and suddenly people were making me feel guilty for not wanting to play the role of a big sister. Whenever those talks started, I'd start planning my next move, another couch to crash on, another friend's house to stay at, just so I wouldn't have to keep hearing it. And the truth is, I never took their advice. I didn't try. I still haven't tried. Recently, one of those relatives brought it up again. This time, they tried to sweeten the deal by saying my mom would be willing to let me and my sister spend time together at their house, not hers. They thought maybe removing my mom from the equation would make me more open to it. But I said no. I told them I don't want a relationship with my half-sister. That relative pushed harder. They said things like, what if one day you wish you had siblings? Or what if something happens to her and she really needs you? Wouldn't you want to be there? And my answer, bluntly, was still no. I told them that if they felt so strongly about it, they could be there for her. They could step up and be the support system they clearly think she needs. Because I don't want to be guilt into a role I never asked for. Well, that relative went and told two others from my mom's side, the same ones who used to push me about this when I first left. Now all three of them are telling me I'm making a huge mistake, that I'll regret this forever, and that choosing not to get to know my sister is going to haunt me one day. And maybe to outsiders it looks cold, but I know where my feelings come from. Here's the background for those who need it. My mom was always someone who thought about herself first. When my dad was still alive, he and my mom would save money for birthdays, Christmas, or emergencies. But she would dip into it for clothes, makeup, or whatever she wanted. She'd get defensive and upset whenever he called her out. It was like her wants always came before our family's needs. When my dad got sick, things got even uglier. Instead of worrying about him, she worried about how his illness would affect her. She would complain about how she didn't want to become a nurse or caretaker. She asked questions like, who's going to take care of me if he dies? When he actually passed away, she was furious that his family didn't step up to pay for the funeral. She acted resentful that they still bought things for me, but not for her. And as insane as it sounds, she got mad at me too. I was 11 years old, grieving my dad, and she told me I wasn't checking on her enough. She even got angry at me later for not encouraging her to start dating again, like I was supposed to be matchmaking for her when all I wanted was to mourn my father in peace. So, by the time my half-sister was born, my relationship with my mom was already destroyed. And I didn't want to play big sister to a baby who tied me further to the woman who made my childhood miserable. I ignored her. I didn't hold her, I didn't play with her, I didn't babysit. When she toddled around and everyone cooed over her, I kept my distance. She was never my responsibility, and I refused to let my mom guilt me into being free childcare or a second parent. Those last couple of years living in that house were tense. Lots of screaming, lots of fighting between me and my mom. And when my half-sister came along, I just emotionally checked out even more. I wanted nothing to do with that household, and when I finally turned 18, I left for good. Now, at 19, I'm being told I'm cruel for not trying to build a bond with my sister. But the truth is, I don't feel guilty. I don't feel obligated. I don't see her as my little sister, the way my relatives want me to. She's my mom's daughter, not mine. And I don't want to let people guilt me into reliving a dynamic that nearly destroyed me just because they think family should override everything else. So, am I the a-hole for not wanting a relationship with my half-sister?